What's going on? It's January 15th, probably about 8 o'clock in the morning by now, maybe even later. And back on another session of Thoughts Out Loud. This is session 20. It's Monday, and the reason Thoughts Out Loud is a little late or a little behind schedule is because it's Martin Luther King Day. I don't have work, so I went to sleep late and put thoughts out loud. I actually heard my alarm go off, got up, and I said, I don't have to work. I can do thoughts out loud a little later. And really thought about what I was going to talk about and thought about this weekend. And it dawned on me while I was thinking, like, this week's podcast episode isn't recorded. And part of me wanted to just say, okay, well, it doesn't display, or it's not supposed to be up until Thursday. It doesn't post until Thursday. Wednesday night's my recording night. I can go ahead and record it on Wednesday. It's what I've been doing all this time, recording the night before. I already got my outline. I already have my information. And so I can still do a short recording night or a short podcast record. I can still get it done on Wednesday night before I go ahead and and get it done on time, so to speak. And then even then, I can still do 2 episodes back to back and still get ahead of the game for February's podcast, because the last podcast of this month is going to be on Facebook Live. In any case, I had time and I was like, I'll just do it Wednesday. No biggie. That's strictly and strongly against my voice. I just whistled through my gap. That's so against what I planned or what I wanted this year to be. I didn't want it to be. That is a shot to me, so to speak. I didn't want to be recording tomorrow's podcast the night before. That's like it's been the best part of like sticking to what I'm doing. It's been the best part of sticking to the plan for 2017 is that I don't have to worry about I don't have to worry about tomorrow's podcast. It's already set and ready to go. It get me a really good feeling to have things like just already planned out, and I don't even have to worry about it. It's the first time it's ever happened. I even mentioned it in Thoughts Out Loud. And so, but I'm backsliding a little bit, so I said, no biggie, I'll record it on Wednesday. I woke up this morning and I thought about the way it feels to have it slotted and ready to go and not have to worry about it. And instead of doing Thoughts Out Loud right away when I woke up, I just recorded the episode. Now, it sucks. It's pretty bad because my brain you've seen what Thoughts Out Loud is. I talk like this. I start to say a sentence and then I just cut it off and go with another one because my brain is moving faster than my mouth. And that's a problem on a podcast all the time. At 6 o'clock in the morning, it is an issue. Like it's catastrophic. So I'm gonna have to go through. It's gonna be a lot of editing and a lot of a lot of cutting out. Like the podcast episode should be 15 minutes long, and it's 30 minutes long because it's just me like recording a podcast while I wake up. Terrible idea. Great for Thoughts Out Loud because it's Thoughts Out Loud. You get it straight from my thought. But this podcast episode in particular is supposed to be informative, and it's, you kind of have to deliver for the information to make sense. It has to be delivered in a pretty decent fashion. But I don't care. I'll deal with that later. I can fix that in post. I can fix that in editing. But it doesn't matter. Like, the important thing is I'm right back where I want to be. Like, I am so much more comfortable sticking to like the plan. I'm so much more comfortable being where I wanted to be, and that's ahead of the game with the podcast. And so all I have to do is come home tonight after we go to One Mount and go through and edit it and then post it. And actually, I'm going to do the write-up, so it's going to take a little bit more. But when Wednesday comes, I feel good knowing that when Wednesday comes, I won't be recording something that needs to be up tomorrow. I won't be up like racing against the clock to get the show notes done and to get the post up in Libsyn and out for everybody and get the posts and everything up. I'm proud of myself is what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm happy it went this way. having a plan and like here's the difference. I think me and Anthony talked about this in a podcast episode we shot for Bursting not too long ago, or yes, over the weekend. I had an eventful weekend at that. This might be a long thoughts out loud, but we talked about this over the weekend. We said, hey, if you don't have a goal, like if you don't have your goals set up, and I mean this is obvious, but you never realize it until you're in the situation. If I didn't have the goal set up of like being ahead of the game before the launch or before these events are scheduled to post, if I didn't have the goal of being just in it, ahead of the game, I think I said it right, then I wouldn't have felt bad backsliding. I wouldn't have felt like I owed myself. I wouldn't have felt like I let myself down by backsliding. And it's kind of the point of these. It's kind of the point of Thoughts Out Loud altogether. Like I get to go back and see what I was doing. Like I get to go back and say like, and you've been talking about your landscape or your landscaping career post since you launched Thoughts Out Loud. You're 20 sessions in and it's still not done. And kind of gave with one hand and took with the other from there in that instance. But yeah, I get to see how long things are happening, because when you just imagine it in your head, you probably know in your subconscious that you're letting yourself down. You're not doing what you expected to do. Maybe you're not letting yourself down, but you let yourself off the hook really, really easy. If there's no goal, you're not even letting yourself off the hook. You're just like, no, man, it didn't happen, and I'm not backsliding. So the goals that I set forth in 2017 they're already paying dividends. They're already helping out in like the first 20 days and like the first 3 weeks of the of the year. Not 20 days, it's the 15th. First 15 days. So that's one big thing I'm happy about and kind of proud of myself of, because I would have never woke up in the first thing in the morning and done a podcast episode, like an informative podcast episode, not an opinionated podcast episode, without really being ready. And that I kind of proved to myself how much I want to kind of stay ahead of the game and follow this game plan. This weekend we had some pretty cool things happen. Me and Anthony got together. I actually think he came across Thoughts Out Loud, or I sent him a link of Thoughts Out Loud because I had been talking about it and mentioning it over and over again, but I never did tell him what it was because Thoughts Out Loud isn't advertised. But me and Anthony had kind of cut from the same cloth, and we talked to each other a lot. So he watched one episode of Thoughts Out Loud, then he like went back and started from the beginning and watched them all. And he started with like I went back and looked at a couple, and I was like, wow, man, the test is just me sitting at my desk in the dark. There's not even any light. And just kind of venting and randomly talking about things. But that kind of Thoughts Out Loud did for him what I wanted to do for me, right? Like he went back and looked at it and like, you know what, man, I identify with some of the things that are being said, with some of the things he's saying in Thoughts Out Loud. I identify with a lot of things he's saying. And because we're all kind of going through this, we all struggling with this. So Anthony and I got together and we did a podcast episode for Bursting, talking about, because I really wanted to talk about the unsexy part of entrepreneurship, because I think that's what I'm really struggling with. That consistency and that kind of those mundane tasks that aren't as fun, aren't as exciting to do. We talk about marketing and things like that. He lost it. Something happened, and he doesn't have the episode. We're gonna have to get together and do it again. But it was a great talk, and it kind of, I don't know. He like he said, it knocked the rust off for him. So he went and jumped up and started doing like all kinds of other things. He got with our boy Harris. What up, Harris? He got with our boy Robert Harris and did a Final Fantasy 15 review. So he's a little more pumped up, and then that's what I want Thoughts I was allowed to do for a lot of other people. It's easy for it to happen with Anthony. We're cut from the same cloth. These are conversations that we actually have together. I'm even surprised that he was able to watch, I'm even surprised you were able to watch that much of it, because those are conversations he has with me. But we know what happens. When we talk, he does most of the talking. In any case, Thoughts Out Loud kind of served the purpose that I wanted to serve, and that was kind of what is it? Just validation that it is worth doing. So I'm gonna keep doing it for a long time. In fact, last time I did Thoughts Out Loud, last time I got to episode 10 of Thoughts Out Loud, or session 10 of Thoughts Out Loud. It's not a show. Session 10 of Thoughts Out Loud. And last time I got there, I said I'd go ahead and share like every 10th episode on bursting, and this is episode 20, so this is going on bursting. It's why I looked at Anthony like that when I said something, when I mentioned him. We also got together and we did something that's going on All Things Will. So we got together and we took a personality evaluation, and we posted that, or we didn't post it. It's an hour long because it's with Anthony. So we went ahead. So I got to go through and edit it. If you want to get the full version, it's going to be somewhere on his site, or probably on TYO YouTube. And in mine, it's going to be on All Things Will, where you're watching this shortly. So yeah, a lot of things happened this weekend. Man, I had to move my office around. Like, if you can't tell, like, this is new. Like, this is not the way like the desk was black before. I actually had something covering it, but it was black anyway. And got together, did a lot of moving around, changed the office around this weekend, purchased more of this stuff. We're gonna change the setup and like really try to make this a studio, because we're gonna be doing more recording in here. Wife is finally getting on board to do something. She and a neighbor are gonna do stuff. I'm gonna do stuff. Like, I like it. Like, a lot of good things, a lot of good moves. The kids are gonna do stuff. Like, a lot going on, and it all makes me happy. So this was overall a great weekend. Gonna be a lot of busy work coming up, and I don't know, not busy work, but a lot of, like, for all of us to shoot this content, somebody's gonna have to edit it, and somebody's gonna have to go through and like post it and make it available to everybody. Who's that gonna be? It's probably gonna be me. All the more reason to be ahead of my content for Soul Weaver. Like, all the more reason to make sure I'm jumping ahead of the game whenever I record. So yeah, it all kind of goes full circle, and it's all good to go. So all right, guys, I don't know. That's a long Thoughts Out Loud. I don't even know how long this one has been. No, not particularly long. I can't even see what it says. Oh no, it's cool. The focus today is to come back and edit the podcast. But we are actually going out to One Mount, this like indoor water park, or indoor winter park, not water park. We're going to One Mount in Ilsan today with some friends of the family. Actually, a friend that introduced my wife and myself. And the focus is to edit the podcast episode I recorded this evening, and get footage at One Mount today. Maybe I'll try to squeeze a YouTube video out of this for the podcast, or for the Soul Weaver channel for Switch. So those are the focuses today. It divvies away from the goal, or from the schedule, because Monday is supposed to be my writing day. I'm gonna write the show notes for the podcast. I guess that kind of, I don't know. I'm forcing it there, making the puzzle pieces fit. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, guys. You have a good one. Appreciate it. Like the video if you like it. Subscribe if you want to see more, because Thoughts Out Loud is gonna happen every morning. It's part of my morning routine. So yeah, check it out. Let me know what you guys got going on.